In today's video, we're going to be looking back at an iconic mascot in video games. One who tried to make the leap from one console generation to another, redefining his brand as the next big thing, and nearly cost his entire franchise in the process. And I'm not talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. Today, I'll be talking about my experience with Spyro 4 Enter the Dragonfly. Before we begin, this video is sponsored by NordVPN. And in the description of this video below, you can see how you can get 4 months worth of free browsing by using discount code CHANNELPUP, so you can browse safer and more freely for less. With rumors of a new Spyro game following the Reignited Trilogy coming in 2021, I decided to take a little deviation from the beaten path on this channel and talk about my second love when it came to gaming, Spyro the Dragon. And a time when that sense of love was really put to a bit of a test. Fourth sequels are always difficult to get right, but especially when you don't have the developers of the previous trilogy involved in any capacity, as Insomniac Games let Spyro go because they wanted to pursue other projects with a character that could hold things in his hands, wield weapons and such, which is what birthed Ratchet and Clank. For Spyro fans though, and those that didn't want to say goodbye to the Purple Dragon, there was a silver lining, as the new Spyro game would be launching on PlayStation 2 and GameCube in the winter of 2002. The game would be produced by Universal Entertainment, with the game being developed by Equinox and Check 6 Studios, two pretty unknown developers at the time, who were both given ever-changing and ever-contradicting briefs for the game, rendering the project directionless and worse yet set into crunch time, with the staff working in horrible conditions, even so far as Universal not allowing the developers to use fans to save electric while they were working in LA during the summertime, with Universal Studios also refusing to budge the release date or any delay to accommodate for more development time. So the aim for Equinox and Check 6 Studios changed from make the best Spyro game you possibly can and continue the original trilogy to polish up what you have so far and hope for the best. And the game was launched to unsuspecting players everywhere. See, when it came to the PlayStation 1 era of gaming, Spyro was something of a prince, while Crash Bandicoot I guess would be considered the king. Spyro was known for his charm, his slick controls, expansive areas, meaty game stories, lots to collect and lots to explore. Spyro was the perfect storm as far as collectathon platformers went. And put it this way, when I first got to play Spyro 4 Enter the Dragonfly, I didn't have internet access. I wasn't old enough to use the internet. I just, trusted in this character, in this brand, much like a lot of other kids my age. So I didn't read any reviews. I didn't know what I was in for. But what I would be in for was my very first experience with disappointment. Now, the only experience I had with this game prior to actually playing it was the box art and the previous Spyro game before it. Spyro Year of the Dragon was a childhood favorite of mine and my sister's. We used to play it all the time. And in the box art for this looks so cool. You've got Spyro there on that purple background. It looks like the definitive Spyro experience. Still one of the coolest video game box arts I've seen. Just how pleasing it is to look at and its simplicity. Now, when it's your first time being disappointed by something you love, it's not as straightforward as just being disappointed. It's not as straightforward as just saying, that wasn't as good, that let me down. You go through this stage of total denial where you just look at the things that you like about it. You just do your best to enjoy it. Okay, the load time's a little longer this time, but hey, that sky is beautiful. They must be doing that to showcase the graphics. Oh no way, there's continuity in this game. Look, it's a balloon of the sorceress. How awesome. Ripto from Spyro 2, Gateway to Glimmer is back. I always liked him better than the sorceress anyway. Only one hub world. Well, I guess that's fine. I mean, it's a big hub world anyway. The graphics are really nice. Spyro feels a little weird to play as, but hey, you got all these different breath abilities. How awesome. There's really not much in terms of story, but I never played a Spyro game for the story anyway, so this is better. Man, these here mini games, they're great. Oh wow, I'm on the first boss. Oh wait, that's the final boss? Oh well, better to be short and sweet than long and laborious, am I right? No ending cutscene. Well, I guess you don't need an ending cutscene. Just defeating Ripto is enough for me. Look at all these glitches. I mean, they're fun to exploit, right? So that adds a new layer of value to the game altogether. Yeah, I guess my sister was right. This is not as good as the the third one. But hey, not every game is gonna be better than the last, right? This is shit. And as the process is, you make so much effort to kind of justify it for yourself. You give it the benefit of the doubt, you look for the good things, you look for the positives, and then you just get tired of looking and making that effort, and it wears you down, and you realize, this isn't good. I'm disappointed this doesn't feel good anymore. And then you have that feeling of sort of, okay, maybe it was never good. Maybe Spyro just wasn't all that in the first place, and it's just the fact that I was really young when I played the original Spyro games. And then you pop in Spyro 3 or something, and you're like, these graphics are so primitive, but you're enjoying it more. It plays better. Spyro controls better. There's more to do. I'm actually invested in what I'm doing because there's actually a story going on. And it's all part of this big learning curve when you're growing up and you have your first experience with disappointment. I mean, to a degree, it still happens today. There are times when I'm unwilling to admit that I've been let down by something that I love. I've talked about my feelings about Sonic Forces, but the first time I played it, I was saying, yeah, this is the best Sonic game ever made. This is like the 3D Sonic equivalent to Sonic Mania. It's superb. It's breathtaking. Sega, you've made a masterpiece here. Because you go into these things knowing how you expect to feel. You know how you want to feel. So let's talk a little bit about where exactly Spyro Enter the Dragonfly goes wrong. Well, your first impression with this game is a very long period of load times. You get a little graphic of Spyro's head come up first, and a little purple loading bar, and then the game loads some more, and then it has an opening cutscene, and then it loads some more. And these load times are some of the most laborious I have ever experienced in my entire life, reaching almost up to a minute if I remember right. And you begin the game with this story where the baby dragons are supposed to be having their big ceremony where they get their dragonflies. It's an accompanying tradition, I guess. And Ripto comes and crashes the party and scatters all of the baby dragonflies, including Sparks. Okay, I'm gonna mention a positive here, a little silver lining going on. I do like Ripto as a Spyro antagonist. I like the idea of him being a recurring villain. He feels the most like Spyro's nemesis because of all of the Spyro villains, he has the most actual interaction with Spyro in his debut game, unlike Nasty Nork and the Sorcerer, who have significantly less between them. But it plays out as just kind of awkward small talk, which is weird for the hero and nemesis' first meeting since he yeeted Ripto into lava like a little bitch.
What do you want this time, Ripto?
Oh, yeah. What do we want this time, boss?
You're not hired for your brains, you dinosaurian landmass! Now, back to what I was saying. Well, what do I want this time? I'm glad that you asked, Purple Pest, and I will be happy to demonstrate. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen.
I swear they just have this little moment of just wondering what to say to one another. It's really awkward to watch. But okay, I'm not expecting massive amounts of conflict from a children's game. And at that age, when I was more the target audience for this sort of stuff, it still felt pretty awkward to me. But the truth is, they didn't do much with this plot after this cutscene. As a matter of fact, you're lucky if you even get an ending for it. You have to 100% the game in order to get an ending. Any ending whatsoever. Otherwise, Spyro just bombs Ripto down and then bada bing, bada boom. Thanks for the $40, asshole.
Well, that's what you get for playing with your little dick.
Your work is you. Don't let you down. It just aches that bit more, knowing how the developers really wanted to make a follow-up for Spyro. They wanted to make it good, and it shows with this little message here, which is otherwise a good message, but I guess the appropriate message for this one would be, this work here is Universal's fault. Pricks. If you do manage to 100% the game though, you get this little cutscene where Spyro and Sparks just kind of reflect a little bit, and that's it. Alright then, it's better than nothing. And that's about all I can say with the story is, it's better than nothing. It gives you a little motivation to play forwards, but just not much. It tells us our objective is to capture all the dragonflies, if they even fucking want to be captured. Come here, you little shit. And stop Ripto. Which really won't take you long, because as opposed to the usual approximately 30 levels of your average Spyro game, anywhere from 1 to 3 has around that number of levels, Spyro Enter the Dragonfly has only 9, with 90 dragonflies to collect between all of them. Let's juxtapose that to the 149 9 eggs there are to collect in Spyro Year of the Dragon, the game that preceded it. As well as that where Year of the Dragon offers you 4 hub worlds to explore, Enter the Dragonfly only offers you 1. But I will cut it a little slack, the hub world is bigger than any hub world before it. So big that sometimes just getting from A to B can be kind of a chore. And that's another thing to be said, while the game is definitely a smaller game than any of its predecessors, the levels in it are big, but it's not big as in it's expansive, it's just the maps are just really wide for some reason, giving the game this really horrible slow pacing. Just to get from platform to platform can take you a ridiculous amount of time, which is only made worse by the load times, which are just ridiculous. You can spend quite a bit of time trying to 100% this game, but you're not going to be spending much of that time actually doing anything. And the overall outcome of the game's ending cutscene is not enough to warrant 100%ing the game. As it is, whether you have 100% or not, you should still get an ending. This game is for kids. Do you think your average kid is worried about 100%ing Spyro? Silver linings, silver linings. What I will say is Spyro actually controls okay, all things considered. It's a definite downgrade from the previous 3 games. Spyro's not as tight as he was before. He's a little bit more loose and slippery and his glide doesn't work as well, but I will say, considering they couldn't use any of the assets from the previous games and their brand new developers are doing this, it could be a lot worse. It does still feel like Spyro, just a very downgraded version. But being as they're very slippery this time around, it takes a bit of getting used to. You gotta really get your reactions fine-tuned, which can also be made even more difficult by how inconsistent the frame rate is, making it really hard to actually judge anything. Oh, how much longer is this going to take? So one of the main selling points of this game is that Spyro comes with a set of new breath abilities. This dragon no longer just breathes fire, but bubbles? He breathes bubbles? Okay, it's a kid's game and it's quite a bit of fun, I guess. So yeah, bubble breath. Electricity breath? Wow. And ice breath. And to be honest, with the exception of flame breath and bubble breath, they're all extremely situational. Which makes this kind of strange, as to be fair, new breath abilities aren't actually anything new to this franchise, with the exception of course, bubble breath. But Spyro has used ice breath and like bomb breath in Spyro 1, 2, and 3 before, and they were given to you at the times when you would need them, but no other time. In this game, it's very situational. To be fair, you're not going to be using them much. You could have just been given them for use in those specific times, but then this game would have no unique selling point among the other Spyro games other than the fact that it's a massive fucking downgrade. So I guess like everything in this game, they just took this idea and ran with it about 2 steps and then left it at that. Now also, to be fair, if you don't care about that 100% ending, there are some really quick ways to play this game. So part of the big thing with Spyro Enter the Dragonfly is within that giant hub world are gates that can only be opened by certain breath abilities which you earn throughout the game. But they can only be opened by those certain breath abilities, but you can still get through them well enough anyway. Just run against them for long enough and Spyro will just phase right through, forget about it. So I guess we could call that the normal mode for this game, but let's go for easy mode. You ever get tired of buying a game and then actually having to play it when really you just want to see the ending? Yeah, me neither, but anyway, and you don't even need the breath abilities to defeat him here. It's like they were aware that people would do this. Either that or that's a surprisingly smart bit of programming in a really poorly programmed game. Speaking of which, holy shit, what are you doing? Well, they may have gotten rid of the skateboard, but that doesn't stop Spyro from doing all kinds of tricks. I laugh at it now, but it was just honestly sad to see Spyro in that position. I wasn't really able to laugh about this whole thing until the Reignited Trilogy was announced, and it was like, okay, Spyro's gonna be okay, now we can laugh at this. But this game left a dent in Spyro, left a dent in his legacy so deep. He wouldn't get up until that. They had Spyro A Hero's Tale follow this game up, and is the best reaction I could get out of that. And then they rebooted Spyro again and again until he was completely obscured in his own franchise. Skylanders? Spyro's Adventure? Not for long. Now, music legend Stuart Copeland does return for the soundtrack, and for the most part, it's everything you've come to expect from Spyro. It's jammin'. Sorry, I won't say that again. Although I think time constraints definitely do start to show once you get to the final boss. Ugh, none of that goes together, man. But there is a bit of a silver lining to this. Obviously, Spyro is now back and better than ever, and I really hope they follow up on that Reignited Trilogy with something new. But upon replaying this game for research purposes, I did not play the game on the console I did before. I originally played Spyro Enter the Dragonfly on the PlayStation 2. When I replayed it, it was on the GameCube. And the GameCube version is quite a different story altogether, which is weird because it's a port. The two games are ports of one another. I don't know which one was the predominant, I'm presuming the GameCube. Because the GameCube version manages to escape a lot of the major bugbears that really dogged the PlayStation 2 version of Spyro Enter the Dragonfly. Much of what this game is known for in its reputation today isn't actually there in the GameCube version. The GameCube version still has a few glitches in there, but not nearly as much as the PlayStation 2 version has. The frame rate is definitely more even. But best of all, the load times are actually not psychotic. It loads in just a little bit longer than your ordinary previous PlayStation 1 era Spyro game did, as opposed to almost a whole fucking minute, like my impatient childhood self had to endure. So the difference is that while Spyro 4 on the PlayStation 2 is a glitchy, nasty mess of a game, the GameCube version is just a very, very downgraded Spyro sequel overall with a few glitches in there. It still has the same story, it's still got the same number of levels and collectibles and bosses and hub worlds. It's still an absolute dwarf of a game compared to the original Spyro trilogy, but to be fair, if I were to marathon the original Spyro trilogy, I think the GameCube version doesn't make a horrible little extension. It definitely ends your marathon on a much weaker note than Year of the Dragon would, but it at least feels that little bit more competent on the GameCube than it does on the PlayStation 2. To be honest, I would like the idea of Toys for Bob adopting a few concepts from Spyro 4 for the follow-up to Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Have Ripto scatter the dragonflies again, but have that story feel more complete. Have other enemies and boss fights for Spyro to take on other than just Ripto. Use some of the level concepts that were in the final game, but make them better, tighten them up. Find more actual uses within the core game for Spyro's different breath abilities, or just omit them altogether. Create brand new levels to get this to the length of the previous 3 games, as well as brand new hub worlds. Just finish Spyro 4. Make Spyro 4 as it was supposed to be. Make the game that all the kids everywhere missed out on because they got this pile of shit instead. Maybe they could roll all that up with a few ideas from Spyro: A Hero's Tale to give that original trilogy a proper continuation. But honestly, what I'd like just as much as that is just a brand new great Spyro game, because I think that Reignited Trilogy is the perfect launch pad for something more. However, I do feel like there are some good ideas and concepts in Spyro Enter the Dragonfly that do deserve their chance to actually shine, as opposed to being smothered like this festering turd that we have. And Spyro Enter the Dragonfly on GameCube. Well, I'm gonna leave it to you guys now. What do you guys think? Comment below and discuss, and as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the like button, and in the description below are the links to my Patreon and my Twitter. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and have a great day. That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you? Because you could get a way better costume from Zentai Zone. Check out their range of custom-made, tailored superhero costumes. Ridiculously good quality, value, and customization. Link is in the description below, as well as my coupon code CHANNELPUP, where you can get a discount off of your purchase. And while you're at it, why not get your suit designed by my talented buddy Dan from New Blood Dan's workshop? You can contact him via the link in the description below. Seriously guys, you do not want to miss out on your chance to be your favorite superhero and feel authentic and professional. And you don't want to miss out on that Channel Pup discount.